Hello, this is Doctors Bob, Anthony, and Kaysen DeMaria with another Half Off Health for you. And I'm going to tell you tonight, we are going to be rocking the house. We have an awesome guest. She has a very interesting history and background. If you've ever injured yourself, you want to pay attention. We've been learning so much in our office. If you have hip pain and are thinking about doing hip replacement, you need to call us before you do that, because we're seeing a pattern of spinal misalignment that can cause the displacement that can cause a hip problem and eventually hip replacement. We have been so blessed at North Coast Chiropractic and as drugless doctors that we've written 7 books. And this is one of my favorite books, and the favorite book for people around the world. It's Dr. Bob's Guide to Optimal Health. It's a Bible-based devotional. There is a tip for every day of the year. When the Lord told me to write this book in 2005, it was January 18th, as a matter of fact, 2005, He said, write a book for the church, for them to have a better understanding. Because people come in my office and you know what they do? They whine. Yeah, that's right, they whine because they say it's hard to change, Dr. Bob. So this book is divided into 18 different subjects. Each subject that we address is 21 days long. So for 21 days, we're going to talk about water and exercise and food, men's health, women's health, fat. There's a food index in there, a glycemic index. Great book all year round, makes a great gift. I know that if you get this book, your life will be changed forever. But today, I'm going to let Dr. Kaysen introduce our guest. Dr. Kaysen, you got the mic.
All right, so we are here with Bobby. She's going to share her story with us. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Do you want to tell everyone kind of a little bit about what brought you into the office and just the kinds of symptoms you were having prior to coming into our office?
I actually came to the office about 6 months ago. I had been in a four-wheeling accident and had flipped the four-wheeler over, and it landed on top of me.
It did?
It did. I know. My husband was driving, so don't tell anybody.
Did you have a helmet on?
No.
Oh,
so I'm very, very
2
fortunate.
strikes.
I know. So the four-wheeler landed on top of me, and I had severely bruised, I thought was my pelvis that I had bruised. So I had heard a lot about Dr. Bob and what he was doing, and I was very super skeptical, but I was desperate at this point. I knew I didn't have a broken bone, but I wanted to see how I could relieve some of the pain. So I came into the office, he did some x-rays, and after that I found out I should go get more x-rays and come back. Once I came back, I found it was just a bruised bone, and I was ready to start chiropractic care from that point on. So I started coming to the office on a regular basis, got some analysis done, and I actually found out that my pelvis had, you could probably tell us about that,
Yes.
but my pelvis had shifted altogether.
I will show everyone too. So while taking the x-rays, we found that her pelvis was in a flex position. So instead of being positioned like this, it went all the way forward. And we can actually see with Bobby's x-rays the pre and post of your four-wheeling accident, just due to how it shifted after the four-wheeler had fallen on you.
Right.
So that's very traumatic to the pelvis, and also that could have prevented you from having children in the future.
Right. Which was a huge fear of mine, because we had thought about starting a family in the next few years, and Dr. Kaysen had explained to me that, you know, through my accident, if I would not get that corrected, I could not possibly have children. So that was really scary.
You know what's kind of interesting is, would you mind holding the pelvis here for me? So just for those of you watching that don't understand physiology the way that we do, is your uterus is nestled right inside of your pelvis. So if your sacrum is anterior like this, it could cause a lot of, you could actually have become pregnant, but you might have had, you know, a miscarriage because of the subluxations that were occurring in the pelvis.
Right.
So I also know in conversation, and Dr. Kaysen and Dr. Anthony did the original assessment of her, that you had some jaw pain. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I've had a lot of surgeries, dental surgeries especially, to do with different things, but especially with my jaw. They had quoted me, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get my jaw fixed. So to eat a hamburger was just, well, not a hamburger, but something hard to chew. Something very hard to chew. It would just be really painful for me. So I would be taking ibuprofen, Tylenol, something almost daily to chew my food. So I was putting off the surgery because of the cost. But since coming, I would say, I think it's been 3 months now, I rarely have jaw pain. It would be to the point where I could not sleep. It would hurt so bad. But now I forget I have any problems. So
Okay, so I'm gonna pull a little bit out of here, right? So you were a skeptic, right?
absolutely.
That was she was a skeptic.
Yes.
And having the potential to have surgery, you know, not all surgeries are always successful.
Right.
And you couldn't eat.
Right.
And you're taking ibuprofen and aspirin.
Yeah.
So you know what ibuprofen and aspirin does to the body?
Yes.
Causes kidney disease and liver disease. So you know what happened was by the grace of God that you
Absolutely.
came into the office.
Really.
Okay, so talk to us about how your body has been doing ever since. Can I ask you a question? Did you have menstrual cycle challenges before you came into the office?
Just a lot of pain when it would come to that.
So how's that doing?
Actually better. It's not quite as bad. I mean, for a woman, it's terrible as it is, but it's not quite as bad as it was.
So have you ever had chiropractic care before?
Yes, I have. I've been to, since I was 16, I would go to a chiropractor, but the adjustments were really painful, and a lot of the care they were giving me just, it was never helping, or it would make me come back more frequently. So I just stopped going altogether because of different reasons, and it didn't, quite frankly, it didn't work. So.
Okay, Dr. Anthony and Dr. Kaysen, so let's just pull out of her, because this is so important, because there are people watching us right now, and you could be sitting on the couch and you may have been to anywhere from 3 to 5 different chiropractors. And what I have found from my experience, and I've been doing this since 1978, is people want chiropractic more than the chiropractors want to give them chiropractic. And I'm not trying to be unkind right now, but we take this very serious, which I'm sure you could tell by the look that I'm giving you right now. So Dr. Anthony and Kaysen have been primarily treating Bobby, so what's happening?
I would say one of the biggest things that Bobby started to understand is that when you put the bones of the spine into their proper alignment and remove subluxation, it allows the body to heal itself. So just like Bobby talked about everything that was going on with her jaw and her TMJ, and it cleared up, that's just how the body works. It wants to heal itself. So it's pretty common that we'll have patients that come in the office and they'll have problems that they never even told us when we do a comprehensive case history on them, that they come back after they've been getting chiropractic care and say, you know what, that problem that I never told you guys that I had, it's getting better. And we'll say, well, you know, that's really awesome, because they're starting to get the big idea that the body heals themselves. So I know that it's been really awesome to see your progress in the office, and it's just taking everything and taking it to the next level and incorporating chiropractic care and some diet changes to really make some big impact in your life. So it's been really awesome to see your blossoming through care.
You know, I was going to ask you, Dr. Kaysen, can you go, we looked at her original films when they came in. Remember, they were one way, but you guys noticed something. I think that we need to pass this on, because, see, she had trauma, and people have trauma all the time, whether it be a motor vehicle or a cheerleader or rollerblading or ice skating or skiing. Let's just slow this down a little bit and talk about what happened to her pelvis, because it changed when we were going over.
When she originally came in prior to your accident, your pelvis, it was still subluxated, but it was more in a normal position, just looking at it more level. And I think you came in 3 or 4 months after the accident, and just by looking at it dramatically, you could see the opening and how everything had shifted forward. So that was only 3 or 4 months after the accident. So you can imagine people that they wait to come in years after, and then that starts traveling up the spine into other areas.
So, you know, recently we had these individuals come in that had hip challenges. I think that you and Dr. Anthony discovered, and we could actually do a research project on this. Now, what we're going to share, what Dr. Anthony's going to share with you right now, you won't appreciate for about 30 years from now. You'll never know what I think that's the glory about what we do. This is really, this is fascinating.
So one of the things that we've been seeing is a pattern with our patients, and if you know anybody that's had hip trauma or problem with their hips, we've been finding that exactly what Dr. Kaysen was talking about with this pelvis. When the pelvis goes into what we call flexion or in a forward state, it changes the curves of the spine and the biomechanics of the spine. So the lumbar spine or your low back becomes more, well, for a lack of a better term, more curvy, and the curves change in your spine, and that throws off the normal biomechanics. So if you let this stay in this position like this for your entire life, 30 years down the line, we are seeing that females in their 40s, 50s, and 60s are coming in and having to get hip replacement because of this unnatural biomechanical problem that's a result of trauma or the chuck holes of life. So it's been really awesome because we've been able to do some motion-specific chiropractic analysis on our patients to really get to the root cause of their problem. So someone like Bobby, who is a skeptic, is really awesome to be in the office, because when we make a difference in their lives, they really get the big idea of why it's so important to have chiropractic care.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I also, Dr. Anthony and Dr. Kaysen alluded to diet.
Mm-hmm.
So why, instead of me prying why don't you just talk, let's just talk to
Sure.
our audience and say, okay, this is what's going on.
Sure. Well, I think about a year and a half ago, because of all my dental surgeries and all the medicine I was taking, my stomach lining, I think, was really severely affected. So I was taking a lot of medications and things like that. And so that developed into, I was diagnosed with IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And so the foods I was eating was, excuse me, it was causing me a lot of distress and pain. I wouldn't be able to eat certain things, but I could never pinpoint what was going on. So I was not necessarily allergic to food or having specific problems with specific food until I came into your facility and they did a really simple test on me by putting my hand on a sensor, and it just printed this report of things that my body necessarily wasn't allergic to, but I wasn't responding well to. And one of the big things was I noticed, like, number 2 was aspartame, and I am diet pop fiend. I love it. It's the best thing. But I would always get this crash right after I would drink it, and I could not figure out why until that report came out that my body does not respond to aspartame.
That's huge, you know.
I know.
I mean, that's just huge for you. And we have been so blessed in our office because we do research for that company.
Okay.
Like, we're one of the 6 people in the whole world, and we've been blessed because they've given us opportunities. So I'm glad that you had the opportunity to do that. And so what it is for those watching us right now, it's called biocommunication, and we are really actually doing a huge assessment. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back because we have some more things we want to talk about. So if you know anybody that's had pain, think about hip replacement surgery, you just need to call them up and tell them, start watching this right now. It could even be 3 o'clock in the morning. You just tell them. Watch on the internet too. Hello, this is Doctors Bob, Anthony, and Kaysen DeMaria. We're going to continue on with this awesome interview. If you know anybody right now that is passionately addicted to high fructose corn syrup, call them right now. So before we took the break, we were talking about some of your passions, and you were really passionate about this diet soda, weren't you?
Oh yeah,
that big
I love
grin.
it. I used to love it. So
That's good. So can I just briefly talk to you, everybody watch this right now, about this? Whoever invented this cap was a genius. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. So this is a bottle of soda. Let's just say it's diet soda. So the average woman consumes about 5 of these every day.
Wow.
Right now, the average young male in America drinks more than a quart of soda. So what we're seeing statistically, what happens is you're going to see women have big purses, and they open this up and it goes psst. You used to hear the psst noise, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think you did it just for the psst noise. And they go like this, 1, 2, they put it back down, they put it in their purse, and all day long. How many of these were you thinking you were drinking?
At least 1 a day. Or 2.
Okay, we won't press any more than that. Just very quickly, look at the ingredients. Sodium benzoate causes allergy. But what you might not know and I'm going to encourage you right now, you could go to the website, you email us. There is gluten in soda pop and something called the caramel coloring. Caramel coloring comes from barley, which comes from gluten, which could be an issue for some of you. You email us, we will be happy to send you this article on gluten. It'll change your life. So talk to us a little bit about what you were doing with this food. What happened? So you know what, excuse me, we did something called biocommunication. We have a piece of equipment that is cutting edge that the body electrically can create electronic questions. Like you do an EEG, an EMG, an EKG. So that was fascinating, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great. And it only took like 10 minutes.
And we didn't have to put anything in or take
No,
anything out.
I thought it was going to hurt, but it was easy. It wasn't bad. So that report showed the aspartame and the diet soda, and then I was really concerned because a lot of it I thought was stuff that was already in my body, but it wasn't necessarily. It was stuff that I was not going to respond to at some point. So one of the big things was high fructose corn syrup or corn flour. And I did not realize how many of my organic foods, especially sometimes, have those hidden things in them. So I just, for fun, took a week out and said, I'm just going to cut it out and see how I feel. And I'm telling you what, my bowel movements were way better, and my digestive system just responded immensely. Like, it was awesome.
Do you know how cutting edge this is?
I don't.
It's huge because see, there are people watching us right now all over the world because this is going to be on the internet, and they are suffering. They take people's intestines out, you know. Yeah, they do. They take out, I've had people, they take out all of their intestines and they poop in a bag. So here's what's going on with this high fructose corn syrup. Even in, and this is really awesome. This is the original Dr. Bob soda. Somebody brought this into my practice, but there's high fructose corn syrup in this. And what you really have to realize is that high fructose corn syrup comes from corn. Most corn today comes from genetically engineered corn. So you are actually having possibly a huge challenge going on in your body. So Dr. Kaysen, when you adjust Bobby in the office, talk to me. Does she have pain? Has her pain been relieved from her food changes? What have you noticed?
I can notice in the office that your muscles have completely changed. And I know that you know when you haven't been so good on your diet, because even before I adjust her, she says, I know I'm going to have left upper back pain or my muscles are going to be tight because I had a piece of watermelon.
Yeah.
So I know that she knows even before adjusting her that she might be tight in certain areas. But I know that your body's completely changed even when you get off the table. I've seen increased range of motion, and you're a completely new woman.
Were you depressed before, would you say, at all?
It was hard to find energy, for sure. So I wouldn't necessarily always connect that to foods because overall my diet was pretty healthy.
You thought?
I thought. So that food analysis really helped me because I could be eating a healthier thing than a normal choice someone would make, but then making the right choice for me was really key, I think.
So you have more energy?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sleeping better?
I am.
Are you focused better?
Yes. Well, especially since I started the B vitamin.
Were you crying easy?
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes we ask a lot of really personal questions like, I asked permission to ask her if she pooped every day now. Because not everybody, there's people out there right now that are smiling because you're not pooping every day. But if you have sore muscles with exercise, if you cry easy, hey, this is serious stuff that we're talking about right now. I mean, this is cutting edge, and some of you are on, you could have went on an antidepressant. Were you ever on an antidepressant?
No.
Were you thinking about it?
I think it would be more for the energy than, I was never really depressed, but it was hard for me to find energy to do, you know, around that 3 o'clock hour, it would just be kind of dead. But since I changed my diet and I know foods that will give me more energy, especially vegetables, it's hard to choose, you know, a green pepper or beet over, you know, something different, that piece of chocolate or a coffee in the afternoon. I have more energy all day long, I would say.
So I'm going to ask you a really personal question right now. You're
Sure.
newly married.
Yes. Well,
So,
yeah.
well,
3 years. We'll count it.
36 years.
Okay. Oh, you win. You win.
How, and this is not a loaded question, but would you say your marriage is even better now?
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Because of your own physical body?
Well, yeah, if you think about
Energy-wise,
it, you
etc.
have more energy, which gives you endorphins, which makes you happier, which gives you a better outlook. And so those things that would normally make you a little bit upset pretty quick just kind of tend to go by the wayside, more patience.
So we have people out there that are watching us right now that are just as skeptic as you. This is a sales pitch. It's not a sales pitch for us.
Right.
You're saving them from
Right.
getting operated on or
Right.
being on antidepressants.
Right.
You can talk about anything you want. I'm going to give you free reign.
Okay. Well, I think for me especially, I'm a young adult, I'm 26, so to think that you would be in a chiropractic office when you're my age would be really kind of hard to wrap your mind around, because you think that's for older people that have, you know, a lot more serious problems than you do. You just have a few back pains here and there, but the fact is you can live without those pains. And for me, I never knew what it was like to not have pain in my upper left back, which I found out was my sugar spot. And so after I changed my diet and changed little tiny things that you don't have to go, you know, off the deep end, just little changes that I've been making over the last few months have really changed my entire outlook, my diet, my digestive system, those kind of things, how I cook for my family, how I'm looking at family planning and actually being okay with having a family from this point on. Has revolutionized my life and my walk with the Lord, to be honest, because it really has shown me that God does want the best for all of us, and He wants us to feel completely healthy and to our optimal health, I guess you would say. So,
You know, I have to ask you a question because we have a very unique chiropractic practice, one of the most unique practices in the whole United States. We just happen to be in Northern Ohio. And I know that Dr. Anthony and Dr. Kaysen brought a whole new advanced technology to my practice, and we've already had a successful practice. And talk to us about your chiropractic adjusting experience.
it actually was very different than things I've been to before, especially chiropractic offices. Number one, I would have to, a normal visit to a chiropractor would be going in, sitting down, waiting at least 20 to 25 minutes, then going into another room and waiting about 10 more minutes, and then getting adjusted. I always was adjusted on a flat table that never moved. And so I would just be kind of moved around, they would move me around, and it actually, like I said, was pretty painful, the adjustments. And so you kind of be sore when you left. But at North Coast Chiropractic, when you walk in, first of all, it's really a friendly atmosphere. I feel very comfortable